to our review of Green Lantern number 48, Emerald Twilight Part 1, The Past. Jamie, you picked this one out for us, and I'll let
Finally,
you start us out.
I got to pick out a single issue this time. It's not like that. But
You
no,
picked a three-parter.
I know. So, but no, Green Lantern 48, which I do have hanging on my wall on the opposite side that you can't see. But if you could tell that I'm not a Green Lantern fan, where is it? Boop, right there. That guy up on doop top. And then that's the second part of Emerald Twilight right there as well. But no, it basically starts off with you see Hal Jordan in a sling after he just had his fight precursor with Mongol and everything else. Coast City is completely destroyed, and he's just losing it, thinking he needs to fix this. Again, I'm going to give a brief overview so these guys can get into it because I want to hear what these guys have to say. I've already read it like 75 times. One of my favorite arcs. But basically, he's in a sling. He does a construct to see his dad, to have a conversation with him. Basically saying, like, I've always just wanted you to be proud of me. I try to follow your footsteps, yada, yada. Go on from there. And there's a line in there where he basically says he wants to be God. He should be, because of the fact that he can create anything with his mind through the ring. And he recreates Coast City all over again. And leading into that, basically near the end, the Guardians come out and be like, you're taking your ring off. You're done. You're coming to Oa, and you're not going to be doing this anymore because you just violated everything you could ever violate with the Green Lantern Corps policy rule, with our standby. You used it for personal gain, which you shouldn't have done. And then we get the first appearance of Kyle Rayner in it. So that's the overview. I want to hear what you guys have to say about what's in the story.
Any rating, or do you want to wait till we're done?
I'll wait till you guys go, and I'll give my rate. Oh, you know what? You want me to give it now? I'll give it now.
Sure.
Overall, though, for this, because I've read it so long and I'm really like quiche on this arc, it's definitely a 9.8 for me to kick it off. So,
okay.
9.8.
Anything that made it not the 10.0?
The 10 was, when you jump into this story arc, you don't know what's going on really, especially why Coast City has exploded and why it's not there no more. So, I mean, for jumping in point, that's why I gave it 9.8 for this reason. If it's my own call, it's 10 because I read the full series and understand everything. But for people jumping in, taking this and starting this arc, it's 9.8. It's a good way to get into an arc.
Yeah, for me, like I said, Jamie, I was like, it's a three-parter. But I started the story off, and like you were saying, you were going through it. Coast City's destroyed, and I did read The Return of Superman, and I had read quite a bit of DC around the time, so I knew what happened. How Mongol and Cyborg Superman, they destroyed. Or basically, it was pretty much Mongol, right? Who destroyed it?
Yeah, it was Mongol and Superman was trying to defeat him.
Yeah, so it was Mongol who destroyed it. So I didn't know what was going on, and then, like I said, the story it was good. He's speaking with his father. He speaks with his mother. He finds his former love, and he has all the power, like I said, with the will. He has all the will with his ring, his Green Lantern ring, and then, like you said, they take it away, and then the Guardian comes down, and I was surprised, but I liked his reaction. He showed a human reaction that he wasn't happy about it, and now we've seen a different turn from Hal Jordan. And I said, the cameo was I was like, oh, so the first appearance of Kyle Rayner. I'm like, oh, I was expecting a little more, but I was still fine with it because the story I thought was so good. I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, yeah, I know we agreed to just read and review one, but I'm like, once this is over, this definitely has me invested in this. I'm going to read this whole story arc. So later on, I read Emerald Twilight Part 1 and 2. Excuse me, I read parts 2 and 3. So I finished the whole thing. But for part
it's
1,
a wild ride.
It is. And I would say it was my favorite story arc of Green Lantern. And I know you love Blackest Night, and I have Blackest Night, but I would say Emerald Twilight is my favorite Green Lantern story arc now. But for going based off of Emerald Twilight Part 1, The Past, I loved it. I loved the artwork. I loved the emotion behind it. Like I said, I didn't know what was going on with Coast City. And for me, I'm like, that is how you start a story arc, because I was so into it. I'm like, I don't care how long this ends up being. I'm going to get through this whole thing. this story for me was amazing. And like I said, I love the comic, and I give it 10 out of 10.
I figured that was coming. I know, like I said, the only reason I gave it that 9.8 was because I was thinking from a reader perspective. Like, if we're gonna jump into this, like Sonny, if you had no idea what was going on before this, you'd want to know what happened before it.
Yeah, like wow, how was it destroyed? Yeah.
It isn't something where it's like Green Lantern is just going into something. It's already a start of something. You know what
Yeah,
I
because
mean?
I said as soon as it begins, the whole city is destroyed.
Yeah. So
But
you
Tim,
gave it a 10. I
I
give
give
it a
10 out of
9.8.
10.
I want to hear what Tim
Okay.
has to say because he's probably gonna be like, this was a 1.7 for me.
Well, first off, it has to be said, if you hear my dog, she is just as excited about this issue as I am. So be prepared for that. Yeah, Green
If she
Lantern number
poops, is it
48.
bad?
No, there's people outside and she hears them. But I was reading the Superman storyline that was going on that this is a direct aftermath of. So I was
I should have let
reading
you
that and
guys start first then, because I would have gave this a 10 out of 10.
I enjoyed that story, and I remember coming into this right after that because I wanted to see what happened. So this issue, I believe, is a historic issue for Hal Jordan as a character, because this is the issue where he transitions from a hero into a villain, and it's all
Spoiler.
because of, well, yeah.
I mean, it's only
but-
been like 30 years. So
right,
spoiler alert.
but this is the issue that does it, and the way that it was written throughout the course of that, him just sitting there in that hole and then using the will of the ring, the power inside it, to recreate everything, and then just all of it going from there. I loved reading it then. I enjoyed reading it again today. The artwork is solid. Again, the writing is top notch. Plus, this also ties in, like I said before, to that larger story with the death, return, and reign of Superman and the Supermen. Superman, I think it was Cyborg Superman. Mongol, you said, destroyed Coast City, right? But Cyborg Superman was a big part of that storyline
Hank
too.
Crenshaw.
And him and the Eradicator were fighting, because on one of the Superman covers, that's what you see is Cyborg Superman blasting a hole through the Eradicator, and it says Coast City destroyed, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then this goes into that and that aftermath, and I love that. So it really connects those two stories and connects everything together. So with this gets a very well earned 9 out of 10 from me, and the only reason it doesn't get a top-notch 10 is, like you said, Jamie, if you come into this and you hadn't read anything else before, you're like, what in the heck just happened here? So you have to go back and you have to find out and you have to discover, which is cool. It's part of the process, but that's the only reason it doesn't get a solid 10 out of 10 from me.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. And, I want to bring someone in my world for the Green Lantern fans out there, where if you're starting where like now where they're kind of dehumanizing and not tolerant of Hal Jordan, which is really upsetting. This is what Hal Jordan is, like that whole series up until what do you call it? Emerald Twilight. That's prime Hal Jordan. And then you have that switch from hero to villain later on, which, guys, I think for this one, I think we might do an actual full story arc for decoding panels on, because this is actually
110%.
that I do love.
I'm more than fine with that. It was awesome. And
Yeah.
everyone will enjoy it, I believe.
Well, I mean, Jamie, and even in this, you could tell that the Guardians were mad at him too.
Oh yeah, when he's
more
like,
than
you
mad.
get back now before we go spank you. Like, it was kind of
well,
like
not even that. Usually they would call him Hal Jordan or Green Lantern.
Oh, they called him by his sector.
him by his sector.
Yeah.
2814.
2814.
You need to come back.
Yeah, right now.
Whoa, that's big time.
And then when he flew back, he after what he did to him and took his will and then just
Yep.
flew back. He's like, I'm gonna go have a talk with him. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
you're
god,
not gonna
he's
like me when I get there.
no.
Yeah. Like I said, that is how you start a story arc.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So obviously I gave it a 9.8. Sonny, a perfect score as usual, 10 out of 10 when it comes to certain books that he does love, and Sonny loves all of them. And Tim comes in with the 9, which I don't think I've heard
With
a
the
9
9.
from you.
No, I think this is the
That's a
first
big
9 I've done for Codex.
It was Dark Ages. I think you gave Dark Ages a pretty high one.
Dark Ages is like an 8-9.
That might have got either an 8.5 or a 9.5 out of me. I'll have to go back and
Yeah,
look.
we gotta
I'm
go.
not
Yeah,
We'll go back.
100%.
We've got a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, 9.0. So Green Lantern, Emerald Twilight Part 1. Tim gives 9.0, Jamie gives 9.8, and I give 10 out of 10. So there we have it. It is in the books.